Welcome to the CEO Launch Podcast.
We are a dynamic mother-daughter duo bringing you personality, insights, and practical advice from two different generations of entrepreneurship.
We aren't just mother and daughter. We are also best friends and business partners.
I've watched my mom help thousands of entrepreneurs start the businesses of their dreams, including me. And now it's your turn.
Hello, CEO Launch family. Welcome back to episode number 21. And today we are going to talk about some of the distractions that come when you are in the building phase. And so if you missed episode number 20, where we talked about building your team, make sure you go back and listen to it. It was a good one. I know I say that all the time, but they really are all good ones.
They are.
So to start out this episode, you know, we like to start with a story. And today, Kenya has a story.
So this is more of a recount of a particular period in time. So by the time you all hear this phenomenon called retrograde will be over, but I'm sure it affects all of you in one way or another. So for the ones who don't know what retrograde is, a retrograde is essentially when a planet appears to be moving in reverse, even though it isn't. In astrology, this is considered a time of not necessarily chaos, but it can cause a lot of different just confusion and misunderstandings and things like that, particularly when Mercury is in retrograde. So Mercury has been in retrograde for about 3 weeks now, and it's been interesting for a couple of reasons. So you all may have remembered in episode 6, we were talking about dating. I was talking about my list and my experiences and what I was looking for. And believe it or not, I done found somebody that checked off some of them things on that list. And so super excited about my relationship. Things are going well. And then literally as soon as retrograde happened, I start getting these messages from my exes. Like almost all of them. It'll be little things like it's a text message where it was like, oh, I saw this and thought about you. Or for the ones that I haven't blocked on Instagram, they might react to something that I posted on my story, or they liking pictures that they never liked before, or giving me phone calls about stuff that don't even matter anymore. And I'm just like, distractions, what is this? Why are you doing this? And it's very evident to me that, you know, the vultures can sense when you're in a happy space and they kind of want to cling on and bring you back to the dark side. And not I, said the cat. I just will not go back into that space and situation with those human beings. So
yes, so we remember, right?
Right.
Ain't nobody forget. No.
Right. Nope. I'm the type of person, I enjoy keeping in contact with my exes every now and then, just as frequent reminders of why they are what they are. I'm gonna look at you from a distance and you're gonna do something. I'm like, see, that's what I be talking about. That's exactly it right there. And they always themselves, bless their hearts. But in business, a lot of times those same things can happen, right? You know, you're in a good space, you are getting sponsorships or clients or what have you, and there are these people that kind of come into your space that try to distract you from all of the good stuff that's going on.
And it's usually people who don't have anything good going on. So, you know, it's like, even with 2020, a lot of people have a lot of bad things to say about 2020. But listen, 2020 has been good to me. So I've experienced some loss. I've experienced some hard times. I've experienced some stress, but I've also experienced a lot of good things. And so those distractions also come in the form of people trying to make you feel like everything is just terrible, and it's not. It's a lot of bad stuff happened in 2020.
Yeah, I can definitely agree. I've been in points in time where it's felt like I was in a bad spot or something had happened and was progressing and moving out of those bad spaces.
And people try to pull you back in.
Yeah, pull you right back in. Well, how you feeling about such and such? Well, I've been over this for 15 weeks now, but thanks for bringing it back up. It's like I'm not there anymore. I've done the work. I've healed. I've moved on. Like, I'm in a better space. And a lot of times people don't know how to exist in good spaces. They don't know how to exist in positivity. They can only kind of relate to people when it's something negative, when you can only talk about when you down bad. And
I read this story, and social media, sometimes you don't know if it's true or not, but even if the story isn't true, it was pretty inspiring to me. And it was a story about an eagle and a crow. And it was saying how sometimes when the eagle is flying, the crow will jump on his back and start like pecking at him and just basically trying to annoy him, I guess. I don't know is the crow trying to kill the eagle? I don't know. So forgive me for not knowing all the details of the story, but I'm just going to share the part that really resonated with me. The story went on to say that the eagle would just fly higher. And the higher he flew is a certain altitude where a crow can't breathe. And so the eagle, when the crow landed on his back, he said, oh, okay, I got you. I'll just fly higher. And he would fly to a higher altitude to where the crow couldn't breathe. So the crow either is going to get off his back, die, or whatever, but the eagle is going to be just fine because he's flying higher. And so that story was like, when I thought about this episode, I said, oh my gosh, this is be a perfect story to talk about that. And the same thing, like you said, the same things happen in your business. You are going to be in your business and there'll be people that's going to remind you of your broke days. There are going to be people that's going to remind you of when people said no. There'll be people that will remind you of when you first got started and all of this other stuff. Or even worse, if you just got started, but you're doing well, they're like, oh, but you just started your business. You don't know kind of things. So we stopped by with this episode just to encourage you not to fall for it, right?
Right.
Don't fall for the distractions because they are coming.
They are.
The distractions are coming.
They are. And I think it's so important, like the things that you were saying about people want to constantly either take you back to a space or humble you or what have you. And when you find those people, when you recognize the crows in your life, you got to decide, am I going to stay at this level with them and keep having these conversations with them? Or am I going to fly higher? Am I going to go higher and go to a different place?
And leave them.
Yeah, that they can't come to. And a lot of times you need to leave them. I don't know a lot of crows that you need to keep around just because it's not good for your energy. It's not good for your business. It's not good for your well-being. And being around people that kind of keep you and hold you back and don't see the excellence that you exude and can't celebrate your wins with you, they're not going to be able to. This is just the beginning. Wherever you are in your business is just the beginning of what is to come. So it's like it only gets better if you work at it and you put in the work that you want to. So if they can't handle it right here, if they can't be positive right here, when you start getting on stages, when you start expanding your business, when you start franchising and doing all of those things, they really not going to be able to handle it. So you definitely want to start building the right team and the right support systems now so that you could prepare for what success looks like later.
Absolutely. So I know I'm hitting you with a lot of stories today, but this episode, I really wanted to kind of drive it home. So I got one more story before we jump to our takeaways. And this story is actually a Bible story. Whether you're a Christian or not, it's still a good history story if you're not a believer. But there is a book in the Bible called Nehemiah. And the first 6 chapters of the book talks about, I call it the Nehemiah story. And I'm not going to give you all the details because, one, I don't have them. But two,
just being honest.
Just being honest. Like, I'm not a Bible scholar or anything, but I remember key points from stories, right? And so in this story, Nehemiah had committed himself to going back to Jerusalem to rebuild the wall because Jerusalem was in ruins and the people were suffering. And he was committed to going back to rebuild the wall. But there were people who didn't want him to rebuild this wall. And these people were doing everything that they could to distract him, to keep him from rebuilding the wall. To the point where they were like calling him and like kind of like, Nehemiah, hey man, let's get together and let's have coffee. And Nehemiah was like, no, I'm busy. I'm busy. I got stuff to do. I'm doing. And so that's kind of what happens in our businesses, right? Like sometimes we are focusing on certain things. So like for me and my business, anybody that knows me, anybody that's close to me knows I'm not really doing no social stuff in February, March, or April. Shoot, this year it was the whole year. But, typically February, March, and April, because anybody that knows me knows that I am grinding. This is tax season. I am getting my coins, as the kids say, and so I cannot come to your little birthday party. I'm sorry. I'll send you a gift card. You know what I mean? Like, I can't come to your baby shower. I can't come. It's a whole lot of stuff that I miss out on because I'm building. I had to tell somebody, like, listen, the way that my business is set up, I'm making money in April to pay my September bills. So I have to think about it like that. Like, so in your business, you're going to have to decide, like, I know your business is new, but what are some of the distractions that have come as you were building your business? You that person that will take your laptop to a party. So
I've gotten a little bit better. I believe I spoke about this before, but around this time last year, this was I can't do nothing. I'm not doing nothing. I'm just kind of focusing on what I want to do and kind of keeping my head down season. And so from November 20, I can't even remember. 19. Wow. Yeah. I was like, what year? November 2019 to, ironically, March of 2020, that was like my focus season. That was like, I'm going to kind of grind and research and, have conversations with people. And so it was a lot of stuff that I wasn't going to. Like, I wasn't going to no big New Year's party. Like, I wasn't going to my Christmas and Thanksgiving was essentially with you. Like, it was just smaller things where I wasn't doing a lot of stuff. And in February, I don't think I did anything in February. I went out once in March before everything shut down. And so it was like, I was very much that, no, I can't do this, or no, I'm not interested in this, or no, I got to do X, Y, and Z tonight. And distractions are harder for me because I think we talked about this I'm stubborn and peer pressure don't really work with me. So it's like, listen, if I don't want to do it, I'm not going to. Okay?
Period.
If I'm not interested, it's just not going to happen. So fortunately, so far, I haven't been distracted in a traditional sense of like people trying to pull me away. But there have been distractions where it's like people that I may have kind of not started with, but have expressed some ideas with are now kind of in a different space than me and kind of come with a lot of negativity. And it's like, all right, we got to put you on the shopping block because you're not bringing what I actually need right now. And I don't need all of that. And it's also just been like not psyching myself out. Like, I feel like pieces of 2020 can be a distraction. And it's like feeling so caught up in like what's happening now and the fact that a lot of times stuff does feel endless and hopeless. And it's just like, what am I doing this for? So keeping myself on track, like, okay, you're doing this for X, Y, and Z. And things may change and the world may not look like it was going to before, but the things that you actually want to change and shift on a principle level are the same. So you have to keep grinding and working towards those things. So I've been really fortunate. Nobody is knocking at my door like, hey girl, let's go to the club. I think my friends also know that about me. I think that's one of my favorite things about adulthood. Like, my friends know me. Like, it's just like I will tell you when I want to do stuff because that's usually when I'm busy. A lot of times I don't get a lot of invites, not in like don't nobody invite me nowhere, but it's more so right. I will let people know like, okay, I'm open available to actually, to socializing and like being around folks. So those are definitely things that I'm fortunate and grateful to kind of experience in my business for sure.
Yeah. So let's jump to our takeaways. The first takeaway that I wanted to share is, and we've kind of been talking about this, is be prepared for the distractions. Like, you know that you're doing something good. You know that you are focused. You know you're trying to accomplish something. And based on that alone, distractions are coming. So be prepared for it. Many of you know that I played basketball. I was a collegiate basketball player at Cheney University. And one of the things that we did before games is it's called watch film. It's not film anymore, but you know what I mean, right? So we would watch film, and that meant we would watch the team that we were playing next. We would watch them play. So we watched them play another team, and in watching them play, you're paying attention, like who would I likely be guarding when I'm playing, and what do they do? You got to pay attention to what they do and all of those kind of things. And it was essentially so that we could be prepared, because those are things that were coming. You were going to be prepared. So in your business, you got to be prepared for the distractions, because they're coming.
They are.
They're coming.
And I think our second takeaway is to vibrate higher. You have to be like the eagle, and just when people are trying to stoop you to their level, you got to go to a level that they can't get to.
Right.
And sometimes this can look like a number of different things. I know some people don't like the when they go low, you go high phrase, or I don't even know if I said it right. But vibrating higher a lot of times is recognizing the distractions and knowing that it's not worth it. Like, I've had several times not within my business, but just in my life, where I could be a little, what's a good word for how I am, Mom?
We coming up with one word to describe you, sweetie?
I could be a little outspoken. I'll say that. I could be a little outspoken about when I don't appreciate certain things or like certain things, or when I feel like people have done me wrong in some sense. And sometimes that narrative is kind of in my head, and it's not necessarily the narrative of what they actually have done. And I've had to take a step back sometimes, and like I'll kind of start getting sizzled up and get a little upset. And then I'll be like, you know what? No. And just like literally bring myself down to just be like, to calm down and recognize like there's a different approach to this. For those who didn't get the, what's it called? Euphemism. I'm a little hot-headed. I could be a little hot-headed sometimes when things upset me.
Not you. Not
me. No.
It's the little princess.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not playing with you. I am not playing with you. See? And she trying to distract me from my point, and I'm going to vibrate higher and let you all know, that sometimes you really just have to take a step back and then figure out like what elevation you need to be at to strive the way that you want to strive. Yeah.
And the last takeaway that we have is you got to focus on the prize. Right? You know why you're doing whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's building a business or building a relationship or learning a new hobby or learning a new skill. You have a prize in mind. You have a reason for why you're doing it. And so when you can focus on that prize, then it makes it a lot easier to brush those distractions off when they come. So that's all I have there. I don't want to go, I could go a little bit longer, but we like to keep these episodes short and digestible. So we appreciate you guys so much, so much for being here. Thank you so much for sharing the podcast on social media, for tagging people in the comments, for telling your friends about the podcast. We get emails and text messages and DMs every week from people saying that they love the podcast. And so we love you guys.
Yeah, we love y'all. Thank y'all for rocking with us. Episode 21,
Right.
21.
So we'll appreciate you. So you know the deal. We will be here next week. Mm-hmm. Thanks for being here. If you haven't already joined our online community, Be Efficient CEO Movement on Facebook, we would welcome you to join the conversation. Yeah, so we'll see you guys next week.
All right.
And don't forget to take off.
This is a Clear Word production.